weeks ago was a day of revival. It was awesome. I kind of prayed that day that I would get picked to share a testimony about what happened at youth. So I shared the testimony about how God can show up in your life in many different ways. It was only a couple minutes into my sharing, and I just felt like we're supposed to pray and worship. So I was like, okay, can I have like 4 people come up here and pray for me, and then go out to pray for people and worship with me? At first, we thought it was just gonna be a normal chapel, like people getting prayed for, and then we move on in our day. But that was not it at all. We started praying for people, and they started crying, and the presence of the Lord just started showing up in so many different ways. I was really happy because the Lord showed up in many people's lives. After we had to move to the chapel because so much people got attracted to the room, the Lord was just bringing so much people in, and that's when the miracle started happening. We prayed for Miss Brown, and she stood out of her wheelchair, and she hasn't been able to do that for 6 years now. It took a risk. Sometimes it's hard to take a risk when you haven't done something for a while and you don't know if you're gonna mess up or if it's not gonna work. So now we're continuing to pray for her, and a bunch of people got healed too. They got demons cast out of their body. It was crazy. What stood out to me is how the Lord can show up and make us work through each other. He works through us, but He expects us to do something for Him to start like revival. Miss Walters asked me if I could share. I listened. Imagine if I didn't. None of that would have happened. Miss Brown wouldn't have stood. A bunch of people wouldn't have gotten healed, wouldn't have gotten saved that day. One thing that stood out to me is like listen to the Lord all the time, because once you do, He will actually show up.